ELVA Diagnostic SARS-CoV-2 Saliva Nucleic Acid RT-LAM PCR Test. A reverse transcription loop-mediated isothermal amplification, assay intended for the qualitative detection of nucleic acid from SARS-CoV-2 virus in human saliva specimens. Fast, easy, comfortable. Sample collection procedure. Here are the requirements for sample collection. Do not eat or drink, smoke, consume oral medications, and clean the mouth area by brushing the teeth for at least 1 hour before sample collection. It is also not required to cough and expel sputum. Naturally produced saliva is required for sample collection. To collect saliva sample, first, clean the hands using hand sanitizer. Then, collect half a milliliter of normal saliva into the provided sample tube. Cap the sample tube securely and spray with alcohol. Place the sample tube into the provided plastic bag and put the sample in the container. Clean the hands once more using hand sanitizer. Ideally, the sample should be clear, does not contain any sputum and any colorations. Samples can be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius for a maximum of 48 hours until further processing. Laboratory workflow. RT-LAM procedure preparation. To use the SARS-CoV-2 saliva nucleic acid test kit, several instruments are required, as well as at least 2 separated areas for sample processing and reagent preparation areas. Store the kit at -20 degrees Celsius. The kit is stable for 6 months after manufacturing date. Use the kit within 7 days after opening with a maximum of 5 freeze-thaw cycles. One kit consists of 10 reagent tubes. Before starting, make sure that the enzyme reagent is pink-colored. If the color has turned orange, do not use the kit. Instead, open a new kit. Sample processing procedure. Take out the samples from storage, disinfect the surface of the sample tubes, and seal the tube caps with a parafilm. Vortex to homogenize the samples. Inactivate the samples by incubating the samples at 65 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. This step can be done by using a water bath. After 15 minutes, take out the samples and vortex to homogenize the samples. Add 50 microliter of pre-treatment reagent and 50 microliter of sample into 1.5 milliliter microcentrifuge tubes. Be cautious when pipetting the samples to avoid any cross-contaminations. And seal the tube caps using parafilm. Mix until homogeneous using vortexer. Pre-treat the samples by incubating the samples at 95 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. This step can be done by using another water bath or a dry bath. Meanwhile, prepare the RT-LAM master mix. Prepare 2 microcentrifuge tubes for N and IC master mixes. Prepare also PCR tubes according to the total number of samples and controls for each master mix. Add enzyme into each tube according to the total number of samples and controls. Add the blocking reagent into each tube according to the total number of samples and controls. Add primer mix IC into IC master mix tube and primer mix N into N master mix tube. Vortex and spin down. Aliquot 13 microliters of IC and N master mixes. and add into PCR tubes according to the total number of samples and controls. After pre-treatment, take out the samples. Add 7 microliters of each sample into the PCR tubes filled with a liquid master mix. Samples might have pellets at the bottom of their tubes. Pipette only the supernatants. Also, add 7 microliters of negative control, positive control, and internal control into their own respective PCR tubes. Vortex and spin down all the PCR tubes. Saliva samples can be acidic or basic. This in turn will change the master mix color from pink into yellow or violet pink. If this happens, add adjustment reagent 1 or adjustment reagent 2 before continuing the RT-LAMP procedure. For violet pink basic samples, add adjustment reagent 1 gradually. For yellow acidic samples, add adjustment reagent 2 gradually. Make sure that the color of the mixture after adding the adjustment reagent is similar to IC and N controls. Incubate the mixture at 65 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. This step can be done by using the same water bath as the inactivation step. Result interpretation. After 30 minutes, take out the samples from the water bath. Observe the color using Color Grab smartphone application and follow the result interpretation color guideline stated in the insert kit. Make sure to point into the lighter area of the tube with adequate lighting. The RT-LAMP run is valid if the negative controls of IC and N are pink, and the positive controls of IC and N are yellow. Color chart is used as an alternative if the Color Grab application cannot be accessed. If this criteria is fulfilled, then result interpretation of the samples can be performed. Result interpretation on the final colors of the samples are done by adhering to the following guideline. Enzyme could change color if exposed to oxidation. If this happens, do not use the enzyme reagent. Open a new kit and store the kit as instructed. The color of negative control should stay pink. If the color changes into yellow, the result cannot be interpreted. Repeat the process from heat inactivation process. The color of positive control and internal control should change into yellow. If the color stays pink, the result cannot be interpreted. Repeat the process from heat inactivation process. The color of IC reaction for all clinical samples should change into yellow, regardless of the color of engine reaction. If the colors of both N and IC reactions of a sample stay pink, repeat from sample collection. For further information regarding technical problems, please read instruction folios.